Reasons to be cheerful.
1, 2, 3. Greek philosopher Aristotle argued that there was a type of happiness that was more important and more significant than pleasure itself. It was a kind of pleasure aligned with virtue. It kind of meant striving. Happiness is striving to find the best within us. And he called it eudaimonia. And I kind of agree with him. Yes, I certainly believe that meaning has to matter. I mean, to get complete happiness, it's all right getting shiny things, being gifted baubles and sparkly goods and white goods and things that make you smile. The things that give you a brief hit of dopamine, things that give you a brief hit of pleasure and make you smile and make you feel all tingly and make you feel all giddy, and that lasts until you want another sparkly thing. And that feeling will inevitably return, because it always does, because that is not happiness, that is pleasure. And we all like pleasure, we all need pleasure. There's nothing wrong with striving for pleasure, as long as we don't confuse it with true happiness. I don't think a new fridge or a new television can truly bring you happiness. Meaning has to matter. That almost sounds like there has to be a certain amount of work and effort and virtue that goes into finding happiness, a certain amount of graft and doing and self-flagellation. You have to actually feel the effort to achieve the goal. And I don't think that is necessarily true. Many think that happiness is the result of work and achieving something. The actual phrase achieving happiness doesn't really help at all, does it? Because it tells us that we have to actually achieve, we actually have to work to achieve happiness, whereas I think that happiness, true happiness, is the result of actually achieving nothing, working for nothing. How can you achieve happiness by putting yourself through what could be an uncomfortable process? Happiness, I think, is achieved by completing a series of easy, natural, non-stress. Finding happiness, achieving happiness is the end result of shedding stress, shedding worries, shedding tasks. Actually, achieving happiness is a state of feeling no stress, feeling that you don't have to achieve tasks, that you've achieved everything that you have to do. That happiness is just a state of mind where you kind of see everything around you as a positive, like looking round and seeing the countryside around you as non-threatening and welcoming and beneficial. Seeing your home, seeing work, seeing your family, seeing everything you have to do on a day-to-day basis to kind of work within our society. Seeing none of those as a task. None of those as something you have to steel yourself to do, something you have to say, right, I've got to complete this. If you're sitting down thinking, right, I've got to complete this, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, you're never going to achieve real happiness, because there will always be tasks on the periphery, on the edge of vision. There will always be a task to do. Task, a hard word with more consonants than vowels. Life shouldn't be a task, should it? Life should be happy. We only have one knock at this life, and we go through it. Working for the man, working for the family, doing everything, and then in later life, when we have the opportunity to find real happiness, a lot of the time, and for a lot of people, it never comes, because that's the time when they start worrying about, can I live on what little finances I have? I can feel my body breaking down a little bit. And that brings on stress. Whereas happiness means that when you reach that part of your life, your finances aren't that important as long as you can keep body and soul together and accept that yes, your body will start breaking down a little bit, but that doesn't matter. That's absolutely fine. You just cut your costs, you walk slower, you sit for longer, you gaze into the distance more. You do what you want when you want. You eat when you want, sleep when you want, read when you want, walk when you want, lie when you want. You just do what you want. And you will find that all the stress drifts away. And you find contentment. I've spoken about happiness before and people have come back to me and said it's not happiness, it's contentment. Okay, use whatever word you want to use. It's right, it's contentment. I'm content, I'm happy, I'm content. I am in the middle of my own little nirvana. I will use whatever phrase, whatever name I need to use to let me understand what I'm talking about. I think Molly's happy. I think Molly's content. She's walking along the side of the reservoir now, just sniffing. And Molly's content, I think, because she isn't under any of the pressures that we're under, any of the constraints that we're under. You can do this, but you can't do this. You can say this, but you can't say this. You can think this, but you can't think this. She just barks when she wants, thinks what she wants, walks when she wants. She's happy. There's a spring in her step. There's a curiosity in her little grey, unseeing eyes. Her little ears are up, even though they can't hear anything. She's got things wrong with her, but I think she's content. Her body language, the love she gives me, tells me that she's content and happy. And that goes part way, that goes towards my happiness as well. Seeing Molly unwell or unhappy would make me unhappy. See how it is? Everything in your sphere, everything in your little bubble, everything in your little circle of life, in your orbit. If you can break down and get rid of the things that are bringing you stress, or at least get the best out of the things that are giving you stress, deal with the things that are giving you stress more rationally, stir them down, tell them, yes, I will complete this task, yes, I will do it, but I will do it my way, and I refuse to let it stress me out. And eventually things fall away. Things do fall away, I believe they do. We're talking nonsense today, we're just riffing today, we're just out talking today, and I know that lots of people are going to come back to me and say, but you were wrong. But I'm not wrong, and neither are you. None of us are wrong, because we all deal with life as we deal with life, don't we? You go through life your way, I go through my life my way. Some people go through life looking for thrills that cause them a certain amount of stress, an enjoyable stress, a dopamine, an adrenaline stress. Some people go through life with a head buried in a book, looking for knowledge and meaning. Everybody is right. But not everybody ends the days or gets into the part of the life when they can, when society says, yes, you can relax a bit now, yes, you're retired, you can have a minute to yourself now, don't worry about it. And a lot of people reach that part of their life, that time in their life, and they're still stressed and they say, oh, I'm still, I hate retirement, it's horrible. So then you've worked all your life, 50 years, retired, 20 years of retirement if you're lucky, and you're unhappy, and you've had one crack at life, you've had one crack. on crack at this life, because I know that I will get people in the comments saying, but how do you know you've only got one life? I'm talking about this life, because if I come back as another life, the chances are I won't have known that I've lived this life. So each life will be the only life. You can have 1,000 lives, but each life will be individual. Each life will be the life you live. Each life will be the only life you know, and you've got to make it work. You've got to make it work. You've got to bring yourself into a state of happiness when you've reached a point in your life where society and the man and the mechanics of work have said to you, right, you've grafted now, you've done 50 years, have a minute, put your feet up, have a brew, have a drink, have a pint, have a cake, because you've earned it. So do it. But have that pint and that cup of tea and that cake in happiness and contentment and peace. Many think, rightly so, that happiness is the end result of a series of life's little adventures, achievements, happy family life, less stress at work. It's an achievement it's a collection of things, a collection of happenings, a collection of experiences that will bring you happiness. I'm happy when you've had a life full of accomplishments, when you've seen your family settled, when your finances are enough that you can at least buy yourself a loaf of bread and keep your roof over your head, and people will say, that's what brings me happiness. But I also think, and rightly so, that happiness can be a spontaneous thing. I think a lot of it is down to you. I'm eternally optimistic. I'm pathologically optimistic, and that optimism has probably ended me up is because this is why I'm skint and broke and I've got nothing, but I'm kind of happy, because I just never see. I'm impulsive. I do things because I'm looking on the bright side of life all the time. I cannot see the downsides, so I rush headlong into situations that bring bad end results, but those bad end results don't really affect me at all. I just think, right, shrug off those bad feelings, shrug off those bad experiences and get on with the next one and make another decision that may or may not be bad. And as I'm making those decisions one after the other, I am going through life, aren't I? And it's like every year passes and I'm still making bad decisions. And at the end of my life, I will probably make some more bad decisions, but I will have had a life making bad decisions, but I will have ended up at the same age as somebody who's made better decisions and made lots of money, but I've been happy and they're happy. There's no one size fits all. I've made all these bad decisions, oh God I have, but it's been a great experience and it's been fun and it's been unpredictable, and at the end of life I'll be able to look back and think that was great because. And if somebody's got lots of finances, lots of goods, lots of money, lots of this, you may see life differently, so you may look back and think that was great because. So we're all different. I am telling you how I achieve happiness. You will achieve it how you achieve it, but as long as you achieve it, as long as you don't end your life, and I know many people do, because I come across many people who do, who say that was awful, that was good, and I've told the tale of the man I met a few weeks ago when I was out with Molly and his wife, and he was just so down about life. Life was horrible, life dealt him a bad hand, life this. He was determined to be unhappy. He was determined. His goal in life was, he was determined to be unhappy. And it was dragging his wife down that whole unhappy road as well, which I think is incredibly selfish, and he needed a smack round the ear hole. But it's not that difficult to be happy, is it? It's not that difficult. Take pleasure in the simple things. You may go through life thinking, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. But don't, whatever you do, end up at the end of your life exhausted and worn down and have spent your life doing things for other people that you didn't want to do. Do things for other people, by all means. But if you're doing something at the demands of someone else, so at the end of the day, when you reach retirement, you're worn down and frazzled and under stress, and because you have been doing things for them to take the stress off their shoulders, they are the one who will look back and think, I'm happy, I'm content. I mean, I think that will be a false contentment, because they will have reached there on the shoulders of others, which is something we shouldn't do. We shouldn't get any kind of approbation for doing that. Get there on your own. Reach happiness on your own. Happiness is a very individual thing that I think you can only reach on your own. You can't reach true happiness after a life of having things done for you by other people. That's kind of an achievement. If we're talking about achieving, it's doing things for yourself. Eat well, sleep well, walk well, read well, be well. Don't let anyone tell you what you should look like, what your body should be like. We all know in ourselves that if we abuse our body, it's not good for us. Somebody who's abused the body over years, no, they're not looking at themselves and thinking I'm in fantastic shape. They're looking at themselves and thinking I've abused my body and this is what I've ended up like. Don't let anyone tell you what you should be, what you should look like. That is up to you, as long as you're happy with how you are. Look at me, I'm a fat little pot-bellied old bloke with a bald head. But I'm happy enough with that. I can move through nature okay. I was a good looking lad at one time. But I'm an old bloke now. And that's absolutely fine. You've just got to be happy. If you're not happy within this little flesh and bone and blood and nerves thing that you walk around in, that you will walk around in all your life, that is the only thing that you will ever own, truly, if you're not happy with that, you're never going to be happy. And the reason you're not happy, for the most part, is because society, the media, everybody else tells you that you are below par. They say to you, no, you've got to be like this. You've got to be this slim Jim. You've got to be this beautiful person. You've got to weigh this. Your skin's got to look like this. Your hair's got to look like this. Who were they? Tell them to bugger off. Who were they? Do they think they're perfect? They're probably less perfect than you are. You are probably way above them on the perfect scale. So just live at peace with your body. It might not be what you think is perfect and you think is perfect because somebody has set parameters for you, but just be okay, just be happy, just be okay. I'm okay with it, and I think that's one of the things that goes towards me being happy, is that I don't stress that much about my body. Of course, I have been a lot fitter than I am now. But I just look at my past and I look at things that have brought me here. Yeah, I mean, I've had illnesses that have brought me here, so nothing I can do about that, is there? I can't change that, so just be happy with it. I'm happy with it. I don't even think about it. That's what I mean, I don't even think about it. For us blokes, it's a lot easier. I know that you women folk are put under a lot more pressure, and that's not fair. That is not fair at all, because you are all beautiful. Every single one of you are beautiful, and you're beautiful because you are the human you are, and not the idealised android that they want you to be. Be happy in yourself, be happy in your body. Reasons to be cheerful, 2. Be at peace in your mind. It's not always that easy in this toxic society we live in, but toxicity is actually something you can avoid if you just go about it. You've got platforms like X that everybody goes on now that is like a sewer, and the reason it's a sewer is because people go on it, people who feel that they can be abusive behind the keyboard when there's no repercussions. They can say what they want. And that's a bit lacking really, because if you say what you want, you should be saying that to someone who can reply in kind. Or if you want to debate, you should be saying that to someone who can debate back in kind. Anonymity is sometimes can be a dangerous thing, but you can avoid toxicity in your life just putting yourself in a situation like I do out here, a situation that you know will bring you peace in your mind. Mine is the countryside, yours might be something else, yours might be the beach, yours might be a cityscape, yours might be your own front room, your garden, wherever. Your local library, your local pub, your local bar, your local cafe, wherever. But put yourself as often as you can into a situation that your mind finds equitable and pleasing and less stressful, that avoids stress. We all know what is toxic in the world, and a lot of us gravitate towards us because it actually, that toxicity actually gives you a little bit of an adrenaline rush. We sometimes like getting a little bit angry and a little bit annoyed and a little bit combative when we get out there and start shouting at other people. But that kind of doesn't do us a great deal of good, does it? Because there's no end result, there's no upside to that. You get in an argument with somebody, especially online, and you will come away with that feeling dissatisfied and unfulfilled, because it's just words that come out with nothing to come back to kind of challenge that, to bring you to a conclusion. And so many people go online and now and open up and argue and come away, and that they come away being angry, and that becomes the norm. They become the angry person online, and that takes over their identity. And their identity is worldwide and public because it's online. And other people, I see it all the time. There are people online who come across as the most vile, toxic person you could ever think of. They go online and they call everybody names and they shout at everybody. And they've got kids at home, and they've got wives and husbands at home, and they've got a mortgage to pay, and they've got Christmas, and they love their kids, and they love their wife, and they love their life, and they are not that person. Toxicity in the world gives people an identity that they don't deserve, in my opinion. A toxic world out there. We think we hate our leaders, but our leaders bleed just like we do. Our leaders cry when something happens to the kids. Our leaders worry about things. We can hate them, that's up to us. People might hate me, that's up to them. Why would that affect me? And it shouldn't affect them. Because we've all got this one chance at life, we've got this one chance to be happy, and we should not be unhappy because of what other people think of us. Other people shouldn't have an influence on how happy we are in life. Avoid toxicity, and it will go a long way to you ending up at my age and looking into the world around you and thinking, I'm happy. It's been a good ride, that. Life's had its ups and downs, but ultimately I'm happy. And I am. I'm wandering about here with Molly. Head full of jolly robins, not thinking about anything. She's running about over there like a little old lady, having a fantastic time. Can you see her there? Beautiful little girl, having a great time, and that makes me happy. And I'm happy. And I try to keep toxicity out of my life, but it does creep in, because it always will creep in. But I try to push it aside I try not to make it, let it dwell, get into my head, niggle away, push it away. There is no place for toxicity in a peaceful world. No place for toxicity in a happy world. No place for toxicity in a content world. Whatever phrase, whatever name you want to hang on it. It'll always be there. Leave toxicity to other people. If they want it, there's nothing you can do about it, but they will end up at the end of their days looking back and thinking, why was I so toxic? Why did I let that toxicity into my life? Why did I do nothing about it? It's too late now, and it will be too late. It will be too late. Reasons to be cheerful 3. Be at peace with your surroundings, be at peace with your environment. I know I've just spoken about this, but this is probably the most important thing for me, and I think it's the thing that's easiest to achieve. Be at peace, be where you want to be. Be like me, be in the countryside, on a hedge-lined country lane, in a village with honey-coloured stone cottages, on a beach, on a hilltop, in a supermarket, in a club, in a bar, in a cafe. It's all up to you. But environment, I think, is one of the most important things. I live a very frugal life. I live a very frugal life because I've not got much money. I have enough to keep me body and soul together, and I find my happiness and I find my peace very easily in other things, in hobbies, in walking about in the countryside, in just being at peace with myself. I choose to spend my life alone. I don't have many friends. I have one friend. I don't see my family very often, even though they know I love them and they love me. But I live my life alone, and I've chosen to do that because that's my decision. And your decision about your life should be the one you make and the one you take. You cannot live your life for other people. Live your life for you. I always say, live your life for you as long as it doesn't impact, as long as it doesn't harm other people. And if other people, if your family want you to be more proactive and interactive with them, find a compromise, do it, but do not give up your time 100% for other people, because you will never be happy going down that road, will you? There has to be compromise. I don't need to compromise much, because after a long life and a long time in that life living on my own, I've lived on my own for many years. And I mean on my own, just me. And in recent years, in the last decade or so, Molly. And I've got so used to that and so at peace with that. And I think that is what is. I've lived this life for so long that I've adapted little things in that life. And because I'm on my own, I can adapt because I don't have to compromise. I think that will make me happier, so I do that. Getting rid of that will make me happier, so I get rid of that. Having that in my life will make me happier, so I have that in my life. And I think that's what we've got to do. We've got to compromise. Those of us who have to compromise. Your family may bring you happiness. Your hobbies may bring you, your work may bring you happiness. You may be absolutely gleeful. I was lucky that I had a lifetime doing jobs that I loved. I never had any money because I chose to do jobs that I loved. The pressure I got from work was the pressure I actually enjoyed because I was doing a job I loved. And I've ended up here at 71 years old, perfectly happy with a beautiful little dog and a simple life. And I'm going to go home now and drink coffee and edit this. Be happy, be at peace. I hope you are. I hope you will be. I want what I've got. I want everybody to have that. Everybody deserves that. Not everybody's going to get it. People live in areas, in countries where the environment and the hostility doesn't allow that. But if you're here and privileged like me to live in the Western world, a world full of greed and avarice and gluttony, be happy. It's not that difficult. and we shall see you on the flip. Peace and love.